Capricorn, welcome to April. So Capricorn, you have a square going on this month with the planets in Aries. So we know we have the sun in Aries, we have Neptune in Aries at the end of March. We have more planets making their way into Aries, but later in the month. So you will have a square, a 90-degree angle with the cardinal fire sign Aries. You're also a cardinal sign Capricorn, which means that you push forward the season. So you make a 90-degree angle. So these are not as easy aspects, okay? So you're kind of each, here it is, 90-degree angle coming at each other. So keep that in mind. Don't let your ego get in the way. And also don't be too, like either extreme, like too much in the ego or too much in the fog and delusion. Okay. Now you do have a trine, a positive aspect with Uranus, the oh wow planet in the earth sign of Taurus. And later on in the month, when the sun moves into Taurus, which I think is on the 19th of the month, then you'll have a trine with the sun also. So April's a great month for you just later in the month. Okay. Not to say the whole month won't be great. It's just that it'll be smoother later in the month. Now you have an opposition. So in the sign opposite you is Cancer. And we've had Mars, the planet of action, hanging out in the sign of Cancer for almost 6 months. That's a really long time for one of the personal planets, the ones that travel closest to the sun, to stay in a sign. They usually kind of follow where the sun goes, either a sign or two behind or ahead. But to be in Cancer for 6 months, it was because of the retrograde with Mars. And I think we're all ready for that, for Mars to move out of Cancer, and it will move into Leo on the 18th of the month. So until then, across from you, Capricorn, will be Mars in the watery sign of Cancer, not its best placement. You might feel a little frustration with that, but at least it's moving forward now. The retrograde has ended. Now, once it moves into Leo, the opposition will end. And I think that will be a relief for you. But honestly, the biggest relief for you is Pluto moving out of your sign, which happened in November. So it's all kind of like, from here out. Okay. So the moon is going to be in Capricorn during the month of April. I'm going to give you some dates here. And those are going to be, when the moon's in our own sign, I find that things are usually pretty harmonious. I find like I feel more like myself when the moon's in one of my signs. So the moon enters Capricorn on Friday the 18th at 10:12 a.m. That's Good Friday, Eastern Standard Time. And it's there through the 19th. That's when the sun moves into Taurus. And into the 20th on Easter Sunday until 7:22 p.m. So if you celebrate Easter, should be a good Easter for you. Now, I picked a few cards as your theme cards, okay? I haven't looked at any of these yet. And from the Herb Crafters Tarot, you have the Emperor, and this is Hemlock. So you're starting off with a major arcana, a major secret of life card. The Emperor's the boss. He's Aries energy. And we already talked about how you square Aries energy. So you've got, this boss energy squaring you. Now let's see what the book says here. It says, build strong boundaries. A sturdy structure supports abundant growth. Own your authority. Now let's see. What else does it say? A strong foundation and safe environment build a solid future. Hemlock is ideal for framing houses because it is a soft wood that toughens with age. Trust your boundaries. They may feel pliable at first, but they will strengthen over time. Interesting. I think hemlock is poisonous too. Oh, that's what it says at the bottom. It says they're referring to the evergreen tree and not the dangerous herbaceous flowering plant, poison hemlock. Okay, so we're talking about building structures. We're talking about long-term success, but also building good boundaries. All right. Now let's see what else we've got here from the animal totem. We have the Hierophant. So you're on two major arcanas here. The Emperor's number 4, the Hierophant's number 5. The Hierophant is usually seen as a priest or someone who's like a great advisor, someone you turn to. The church gives people stability. It's interesting that this is a polar bear, and we know how much the ice has been melting for them. It's interesting how the keys are there. There's this opportunity here. We've got some northern lights in the background. And so maybe those keys have been frozen for a while and they're thawing out. All right. So we see opportunity. We see a lot of power. Hierophant is also a 5, a number of change. Now, your third card is the 8 of Cups. And we see someone walking away from all these cups that are standing. There's an eclipse going on in the background. We know that we just came out of 2 eclipses during the month of March. We had that lunar eclipse that took something from us on the 14th. And then on the 29th, we had the eclipse, the solar eclipse that brought us something. So ponder what those were. And look at, there's something that you're walking away from here. It may be that an opportunity has shown up because those keys have shown up. Could be a work opportunity also because the Emperor is often associated with work themes. Now, I have a Beltane oracle for you. And even though Beltane takes place on May 1st, I included May in the April astrology forecast. And you have the maypole. I am fertile in what I seed, for there is reason to dance and drink upon the riches I receive. They're dancing around. This is they're celebrating spring and fertility. And so I am fertile in what I seed, for there is reason to dance and drink upon the riches I receive. All right. Doesn't sound like there's any lack. Looks like there's a lot of celebration. And you may be celebrating what it is that you're walking away from here. Might not be a bad thing. All right, I'm going to push these cards to the back. Okay, we've got your theme cards in the back, and now we are going to go through the wheel here. This is the astrology wheel. I'm going to talk you through it. Pretty much covers every area of your life. So let's see what you need to know this month of April. We're starting off in the first house, which is Aries' house of your public image. It's the house of I am. It's associated with your childhood also. Here's the 2 of Pentacles, 2 of Earth, 2 of Value. Looks like he's weighing something out there. Looks like a storm's brewing in the background. We've got a little fox back there too. So he's trying to balance this out and maybe make some decisions, okay? So maybe your public image, maybe you're trying to see all the versions of you, or maybe you're looking at, the yin and the yang of it. And 2 is a relationship number. Now, as we move into the second house, Taurus's house of value, some people call it the house of money. I call it a Venus house. So it has themes of relationship and value. And we have the Chariot here, Cedar. So we know that the Chariot moves ahead based on intuition and feeling because it's ruled by the moon. It's interesting how your Beltane card was Hemlock and now you have Cedar. And I love this. I have to say the Herb Crafters is one of my favorite decks. I just love all the herbal references. It says, move forward with confidence, be disciplined yet flexible in your pursuits, embody the journey. It's interesting that it says flexible because that's what the Hemlock was saying too, right? So there's flexibility, there's forward movement. This is a card of emotion, right? So maybe I've been saying during the Venus retrograde, we're still in, that it's a good time to look at our emotional connection to money. So here it is. Now, the third house is Gemini's house. It rules your local community and the people around you, your environment, but it also rules communication, and it's about how you think and process. And you've got the nature card here. So the nature card is actually the devil card in this Green Witch Tarot. And it's interesting because he looks like he's setting a bear trap, yet the bear's right behind him. And there's some fairy festival going on in the background, okay? So it's almost like he's trying to trap a bear, I guess, but the bear's there watching him. So who's smarter than who? Okay, so see the devil card. The devil card's ruled by Saturn, and it has themes of responsibility, and it has themes of, just the devil card in general has themes of who's in control, who has the power. All right. And so when we're talking about your environment, we're asking, who's really got the power here? It's very interesting with that whole scene in the background. I don't think I've ever actually even looked in this book before that came with it. I don't usually use the books that come with the tarot decks, except the Herb Crafters. I use this one a lot. And sometimes the Osho Zen Tarot too, because it's a little confusing. But I've got this book here, and I think it's the first time I cracked it open. Let's look at the nature card. So it says, this is the card of wild nature, where the path chosen may be joyful and unrestricted or fraught with unseen dangers and overgrown vines. Here, the trapper is setting a bear trap, unaware that the bear is behind him watching. The man is equally oblivious to the fawns in the wilderness dancing in a distant clearing, one even beckoning to the bear. Choices are the highlight of this card, as are possible repercussions. The warning is that short-term goals may require personal sacrifice are not always in one's best interest. Will the bear join in the revelry of the nature spirits, or will it risk being entrapped by reaching into something unnatural? People also choose the direction they travel in their lives, and sometimes what originally seems like a blessing turns out to be false. Then the choice becomes whether or not to liberate oneself. Staying in a job that pays well but has an unpleasant work environment, or staying in an unrewarding relationship because of the expectations of others, are only two examples of how one may take on undesired burdens. Okay, so that's interesting, because I think in the opening I was saying maybe you're walking away from a job, right? So, and this is your environment, house of your environment. So it's interesting to look at the choices and look at who's in control, and look at kind of where you're fixated, I think is what I'm getting. Now, let's go into the fourth house, which is the house of the home. It's Cancer's house, and it's the house of your family. And I think of it as the house of like how I nurture myself. It's also the root chakra. And you have the Sun card here, St. John's wort. So the Sun card is a Leo card. It's a card of joy. St. John's wort is an amazing plant. It's like taking in liquid sunshine. And I use it a lot here in the winter in New England because it's so dark. So the sun in your fourth house, we see joy, but we see a remedy there. So maybe there's been a bit like, maybe you've been hurting, maybe joy's been low, but it's offering you helpers. Okay. So maybe research St. John's wort if that's a good plant for you. But we see some bright, shiny energy in the house of the home. We're going into the fifth house, which is Leo's house. It's the house of joy and creativity and children. And it's also the house of romance. And you've got the Hija of air, the catnip. Now, Hija is a page, and air is a page of swords, traditionally. Now, catnip, we all know. Can you see the cat? There's a cat rolling around, totally blissed out and catnip in there. Okay. So we see some blissful vibes in your house of fun. I'm not sad to see that. And let's see, the book says, return to beginner's mind. First thought, best thought. Make mischief with a sleeping cat. Okay, so the Hija air invites everything to be her teacher. She observes the cat and playfully follows her into the catnip. Like this herb that grows wild through the garden, she lets the world around her inform the direction she takes. She approaches learning with the innocence of a child. Okay, so that's the house of children, house of fun, and you got catnip there, so it's telling you to play, be a kid, and just have a good time. Now, work, routines, health, Virgo's house, sixth house, house of service, contribution to the world. And the devil card shows up. All right. So this is the second time you've gotten the devil card. What a different version from this nature card over here to this wild, like bobcat. Now he's breaking out of those traps. He's killed a bunny. He is a wild animal. Okay. So they're showing up. I really keep getting that you're like leaving a job, that you've just had it. You are just this wild, unleashed animal here. You're not going to be contained, and you're taking your power back. I do believe that's what I'm seeing. And you're going into joy. Now, the 7th house is Libra's house of relationship and legal matters, and the King of Pentacles shows up. He's kind of a happy-looking King of Pentacles here. Okay, so the King of Value, the King of Money, the King of Plenty shows up in your 7th house of relationships. If you're single, there's a partner here. The cards are really non-gender, but I do think of kings as actual people showing up. Very masculine person, whether that be a man or a masculine woman. It doesn't really matter. It's a person showing up in your house of relationships who's bringing a lot of value to the table. Now, the 8th house is Scorpio's house, and it's the house of sex, death, and taxes. Joint finances, other people's money, inheritances, power, okay? Deep, deep water, intuitive, psychic house. And the Wheel of Fortune shows up. So you've had a lot of majors. So everything but, no, we had 1, 2, 3, 4. This is your 5th major arcana, and we're at house number 8. You also started off with 2 major arcanas when we were doing the original cards. The major arcanas are the fated cards, the life lessons that you came here to learn. And the Wheel of Fortune showing up in Scorpio's house is showing me that things are in motion, okay? And it's not still. So if you're feeling money worries, if you walked away from a job and you're worried about money, this is the Wheel of Fortune. And you had the King of Pentacles before this. So things are in motion. It's asking you to surrender, okay? By the way, that's a Sagittarius card, and it's a card of luck, blessings, and expansion. So now we move into Sagittarius's house. This is the house of the higher mind, the bigger picture, foreign travel. It's a religious house, or breaking free from religion. It's the house of publishing, teaching, and the King of Pentacles shows up again. And this time he is a buffalo. So there is some power there in the 9th house. The King of Pentacles can afford to go where he wants to go. And so we see a lot of power here in the 9th house. Now we enter the 10th house, which is your house, Capricorn, the house of your career, your long-term standing in the world, your reputation, the house of fame and awards. And the 3 of Athame shows up here. This is the 3 of Swords, okay? So this is a card of old heartache. It looks like she's approaching the door. The goose is there. Let's see. So she's bringing looks like she's like going to go cook somebody dinner, but this is the 3 of Swords. So this could be like visiting an ex or going back. It almost looks like the door looks a little ominous. Like what is she like? It's not going to be great in there. That's what it feels like. So I have feelings here about like, if you did leave that job, don't go back to it. Okay. That's what it feels like. It's like, oh, maybe you're like, oh, maybe I should try one more time. And it's just like revisiting old pain. You left for a reason, okay? If this does not apply to you, you can look at anything. Well, let's see, Capricorn, career. I mean, it's just kind of like, don't move backwards, all right? Even if it's like getting back together with someone, because the 10th house is really your legacy. So it's just like you're going to find old pain there again. Now, we go into the 11th house, which is the house of your hopes and your dreams. It's Aquarius's house. I think of it as the house of like new technology, and it rules large groups of people and networking with other people. And here's the 5 of Wands, and this is the honey badger, and he's just a wild and crazy animal. 5 is a number of change, and Wands is passion. Okay, so he's kind of got all these wands at him, but he's not afraid. And if you haven't seen that YouTube video, the honey badger don't give a F, look it up because it's pretty wild. I mean, he goes from like eating bee's nest and just like getting in a fight with a snake and getting stung, and he just passes out for a while and then he gets right back up and goes right back to it. So it's just like badass energy, okay? And it's there in your 11th house. Now we go into Pisces house, which is the house of the hidden. It's the house of secrets. It's the house of karma. I think of it as the house of retreating back in a way. It's a very psychic house. And the 9 of Cups shows up here. It's almost like this genie, almost, you know, she's coming out. She's like almost make a wish here. 9 of Cups. There's a lot of options, and you're going to have to trust feeling, because I don't know how much I trust her. Okay, so trust feeling. So if that's the house of the hidden, then there may be some information hidden, but the feelings will be spot on. All right, so that's your overview. Now the card in the middle is representing how you're going to feel this month. And from the Zen Osho Tarot, we have the number 2 card that says moment to moment. Okay, he's very in the moment, taking each step moment to moment. And I think that's just a really great way to live. So not a bad thing, but I did get the vibe that there was some things changing for you. I keep feeling career. But it could be, you know, it could be maybe a long-term relationship is ending. Don't give away your power too quickly. Stay flexible. Make sure you're tapping into your joy, taking some time out to play. Looks like there's some interesting people that would like to be in relationship with you, especially if you're looking for a new job. Do not go back. Keep moving forward moment to moment. All right. Now I'm going to roll you some dice for the month. Okay, you got Venus in the sign of Scorpio in the 3rd house. So Venus is in retrograde this month, number 1, retrograde period. So we're kind of looking at our relationship with money, our relationships in general, our own relationship with self, our self-value. Venus can also show up as love, and it can show up as finances. In the sign of Scorpio, which rules other people's money, in the 3rd house, which is communication house, environment house. So Venus is Scorpio. I know when Venus is in the sign of Scorpio, it's known to be people who never forget if they get hurt, right? Because Scorpio is very vulnerable. They like to protect themselves. And there may be some words that have been said that you haven't forgotten. Maybe there was some kind of argument, but please do not let other people's bad behavior, don't take it too personally, okay? Now, if you are financially looking at this, I would say that Venus in Scorpio is a very positive thing, because Scorpio rules other people's money and inheritances, and the 3rd house is the house of communication. So I would say definitely speak from the heart, speak about your deep emotions and feelings, and kind of be honest in your relationships so that the healing can happen, especially the relationship with yourself. Now I'm going to throw some charms over this. It's just so fun to toss them all around. I'm going to be picking them up for days. Okay, let's see what we've got. Okay, so I see the word, let's see, what do I have? I see the word boy. I see the word boys. I see the word Rosie, R-O-S-Y. Would that be Rosie? Bin, booze, B-O-O-S, knob, N-O-B, rob, robs, and bus, and the word busy. See, boon and boons. And okay, so you look and see, I think you can see that in the video. See a cup here. And it's interesting because that's like a wine goblet. And it looks like it's the King of Pentacles, and he's got a bottle of wine down here. and a bunch like figs and grapes. And then here's the cup to serve it. So this looks like a fun relationship there. The King of Pentacles has a golden moon on top of him. And there's a guitar over here in the 12th house. So taking some quiet time out, maybe playing some music, listening to some music would be really good for you. We've got, what does that say? Sigerard. Something from church related. And on the back it says, patron of mothers, help me. And it was here near the Chariot card in your second house. All right. I've got the word RS, which is reschedule to me. And all right. Well, that is what I have there. Now, let me give you some dates, powered days for the month based on the dice you rolled. And we know that this dice got moved, but we know it was Venus, Scorpio, third house. So you're going to get a lot of dates here because Venus rules two signs, right? It rules Taurus and Libra. And you rolled Gemini. So we start off, so we end the month with the moon in Taurus. So those are going to be a good time for you too. The 30th, the 31st, the 1st. Then on the 1st, the moon moves into Gemini at 4:26 p.m. on April Fool's, into the 2nd, into the 3rd until 6:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. These are power times for you. Let's see, I've got more for you. The moon will move into Libra on Thursday the 10th at 9:12 p.m. through the 11th, through the full moon on the 12th. And it will stay in Libra until Sunday the 13th when it goes into Scorpio, which you also rolled. So you get more power times 13th, 14th, 15th until 10:37 p.m. And you get a couple more bonus days starting on Sunday the 27th at 3:17 a.m. through the new moon in Taurus, through Monday the 28th and Tuesday the 29th. And then it goes back to Gemini, which you had that too. So you get the 30th and the 1st until 3:23 a.m. So have a fabulous month, Capricorn.